Thursday. No, it's not. It's Tuesday, the other T-Day, the 6th of December. And I thought I would make a video for tomorrow to give myself a day off from vlogging. I might still vlog, we'll see how we feel, but just to give myself the option of having the day off from vlogging. So what I would like to do, and what I'm going to try and do, is down there is a whole host of, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm really seriously missing something, every single one of my works in progress. It's all of them. It's every single one. I've even got my like plastic boxes down from my cupboard up there so that I can see everything. Absolutely everything. So that's what we're going to do. There's no order, there's no method. This is just part of my trying to create more space in my space. I have quite a small room. I said this, I think, a few days ago when I was doing a bit of a sort out. And a lot of the floor space was taken up with like baskets and stuff with knitting projects in it. Now, I like to have easy access to my knitting projects. However, there's too many out and about. So it's difficult to actually know kind of which ones to interact with and which ones to pick up. And I tend to then just pick up the same like 1 or 2 projects. What I think I'd like to do is try and consciously choose 6 projects. Just pulled that number up, but we're going to try it, that I want to have out and actively working on, and everything else is going to go away in the cupboard upstairs. I say upstairs, it's just like a cupboard up there. And we're going to try that. So my goal is to look through my works in progress. I don't think there's anything that I particularly want to frog. There's some stuff that I have already frogged, but I think I talked about that in a different video, so that doesn't matter. But I'm going to go through all of them and pick which ones to keep out, and you can come with me if you'd like. Okay, so I'm back and I have little earplugs in because there is construction happening outside, and hopefully because I've got a mic just down here, you can't hear it as much, but it was annoying me. In theory, I'll take one out. These are the loop earplugs that don't make the inside of your voice echoey, but it feels echoey, so we'll see how this goes. Maybe I could just do one in, just to take the edge off slightly. I live right near a massive construction site, which is the major negative about this house. I feel like I go on about this all the time, but one day it will end. I don't think that day is going to be for like many, many years from now. It's a big, big construction project. And I don't think I realise quite how much the noise affects me until I'm sitting at my desk trying to work, and I'm like, why do I feel so on edge? And I stick these in, and I'm like, well, that was fine. So give that a go. See how that is. Right. I just don't know where to start. There's so many. Right, there's some stuff that's secret, so I won't be able to show it to you or explain what it is, but this is some yarn. It's for a project that's secret that I started and then unwound and started and unwound and started and unwound, and it might be that it doesn't actually end up happening for this particular holiday season, but that's something. I will put those there. The first thing on the top of the pile, because I was just knitting it before filming this, and is a tangle, is my Hidden Gems shawl, which I'm working on for Advent. You'll have seen it in quite a lot of the videos. There's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and then a real shift for day 5, which is quite exciting. Quite a bit thinner than this yarn, so it's a little bit more gappy, but it's got kind of this fun like sparkly marl, like shimmery marl, and I like that. So that's been hanging out kind of just on the desk or wherever it is, but also in this basket with my I always forget what it's called, my nightshift shawl that's with last year's Advent, so I thought that was quite nice. They can sit together. Those are all my Advent minis in there. the night shift shawl has not changed much since you last saw it, and is in the middle of a row. But that's the back, that's the front. It's very similar. I'm knitting it with 4-ply yarn, so it is very much not the original gauge. I think if I were working in the original gauge, I probably would be finished by now with the amount of repeats that I've done, but I'm just going to keep going until I run out of yarn. I did genuinely consider frogging it when I brought it back out, and I think I do consider frogging it almost every time I see it. I just don't know how to feel about that, but then I just looked at it and I'm like, no, it is nice. It's unusual, and I think that's because unusual for me, and I think that's because I didn't pick the colours. They're, you know, Advent minis. But I think this is the best thing that I'm going to work out to do with them, and I've already done, I mean, I can't even imagine how many stitches that is, and I cast it on when I had COVID, so that's a very nice memory, but I like the fact that it tells a story, so we're going to keep this, and it's hanging out in this basket, which is quite good. Are they going to be 2 of the 6 though? Because then that only leaves me with 4 others. I wonder if this maybe doesn't count. Maybe these are an extra. The 2 Advent projects might be extras. We'll see, but they're definitely going in the consider to keep out pile. Right, I'm going to try not to rustle this one. Next we have one that I've taken out of the plastic box that I was keeping upstairs. This is my Mowry cardigan. I love it. I love the colours that I've chosen. I think it's wonderful. I think this actually is only half of it, because I've just realised that this is just the sleeves and then the extra kind of cream yarn. It's not the main body, which I have cast on and must be in there somewhere. In fact, I think I know which project bag it's in. So these are the sleeves, which I did first and finished. They're not blocked, they're just in their own waste yarn. And then all of the extra stuff. So this will go back into storage. I just wanted to show it because it's part of my WIPs. Probably the Marit, when I find it, will be one that goes back though, because it is a very kind of high focus project, because it's colour work and because it's so many different colours. Only ever 2 at a time, but a lot of like chopping and changing, and a very like natural feeling pattern. Well, that's quite like easy to click into once you do click into it, but I think probably it's not one for the moment, so it might be, and that's going in the going away pile. So next we have a big basket. Now this, as much as it is a wonderful vessel, it's huge, and that is very useful. It is where projects go to die in my personal experience. I think because it is so deep, things just go to the bottom and then I just forget about them. So I think a lot of the projects in here are probably ones that will be best served consciously going away and then consciously coming back out some other time. So on the top we have this bag, which is a Purbeck Folk Festival tote bag, and the project that's in here is, I can't remember, but I can hear that there's some crinkling, which tells me that it's something that's almost finished, and therefore I have a plastic bag ready for the kind of extra yarn to go into. It is one that's almost finished. I also have my computer just here with my Ravelry open to tell me what the projects are called, even though I definitely don't have all of my projects on Ravelry. But I do have these, and these are the Calico socks by Morgan Peniche. And I am so close to being finished with my second socks. This is my second sock, and I'm just on the toes. There's a bit of colour work on the toe, which is probably why it languished, because it stops being a like, oh, I can just knit, and I actually have to pay attention because I need to be aware of like when I need to stop. So this is the first sock, finished, not blocked, and this is the second sock. And we're close, like it's quite close. I think that again, there's going to be a lot of these sorts of projects, ones that are like almost finished, but just the last bit requires a lot of effort, and part of me like wants to keep all these out just so I can like power through to the end and have a like fresh start in January with lots of things finished. I think I might start making a pile of things that are almost done. Maybe I can have like a weekend where I like blast through the ends of projects or something. So this is going to go in my things that are almost done pile. I think, who was it? I think it was B on the Maker Bee podcast was saying that that they're going to try to get through all projects. Just, this is the problem with having a shag hairstyle and being someone who likes to put your hair up in a clip, is that all of those layers are like, no, I don't want to go up in a clip. Anyway, trying to get through like a lot of WIPs before the end of the year, which I really respect, but I definitely will not be finishing all of my WIPs before the end of the year, so that's going to go in a special separate pile. I mean, there's just sort of a mess of floor, but maybe I'll put this on the bed. There we go. The bed is the almost finished pile, and another one I think in here for the almost finished pile, and another pair of socks, another pair of colourwork socks. It's almost like it was planned. So these are my Lucky Me socks by Sophia Capelle, Capelle, if you're wanting to look up her stuff, because these socks are great, and I think they might be my best fitting sock ever. Like the shaping, and I think the fact that they're knit on such small needles. I think these are knit on like a 2.5, let me see. Yeah, they're knit on a 2mm, and then I used it for the body, and then I used a 2.25 for the colour work, just to give it a bit more space. So they're very, very tight gauge, and yeah, something about the sock, like it's just a heel flap and gusset, but it fits really, really, really well. And I could see these being a pattern that I return to, perhaps without the colour work, just to like make a kind of ribbed boot sock. But with any ribbed sock, they look really funny, and I don't have sock buffers. In my mind, I was going to make some out of a piece of cardboard that is waiting down there, but Graham's chewed it, so maybe I'll make a cardboard sock block at another time. But so this is the first one, and I started knitting this after my Stephen West MCAL last year, because these are all the leftovers from it. So not all of them, but these are leftovers from it to make this sock. And I did that one relatively, I did like the colourwork section quite quickly, but I didn't pick it up again until a trip that I went on recently. I was like, oh, I'll just take these socks with me. And I finished that one, and then I started the next one, which, because I didn't have enough of the colours to make two socks, I was like, oh, I'll just do complementary socks. So that's going to be quite the look when I wear these together. But I think they're really nice. And yeah, this one is not, again, like just the toe. So that's going to go on the bed in the just the toe pile. Just the toe to go pile. There we go. Stupid little you know what? It's fine. I'm just going to lean into it. This is my shag hairstyle, and that's what it looks like. Then we have this, which is my needle roll. These are my Knit Pro needles, I think. Are they Knit Pro needles? It doesn't say on them. They're just like the wooden ones. My very first ever interchangeable needle set that I have not touched since getting my Chow Gu set last Christmas, honestly. I love my Chow Gu set a lot, but I do need to remember that I have these as an option, because sometimes a wooden needle is a good choice. So good reminder to me that these exist. I'm throwing them on the bed. It's another small project bag. So there's going to be a lot of me not knowing what's going to be in the project bags. I hope you're settling in with a tea and with some knitting and with something warm on your body, if you're in a part of the world where that is necessary. These are also a pair of socks, and these are, I think, secret socks. So I'm going to just have a look down here to see how done they are and whether or not there's something I want to prioritise. I'm also using double pointed needles to make these, and they keep slipping off. I need those little end stopper thingies. But luckily it's quite a sticky yarn that I'm using, so the stitches have not unraveled. You know, I'm just gonna deal with that later. This is literally just the cuff done on one sock, so these are very much not finished, but they might be a priority depending on how I'm feeling. So secret socks are going in the maybe keep out pile, which at the moment only stands at 3 projects. It's the night shift, the hidden gems, and the secret socks, so not so bad. Next bag. Edinburgh Book Festival tote bag from last year. 2 years ago? 2 years ago? Oh, it's my mohair dress. Oh, the things that we do in the insanity of the MCAL. I don't know what I was thinking. I do know what I was thinking. I was thinking that Be on the Make Be podcast looked really cool. And I also wanted to look very cool. And maybe I can. I don't hate it. Like, there might be a time when this is what I want to wear. So this is all like either mohair that I already had in my stash and didn't have a plan for, or mohair that I picked up at a charity shop on one specific day during October, and I vlogged it, so that's, you can find that. I think it says vintage mohair in the title of the video. And yeah, I have like a lot in the bag. So this is the cloudbow dress pattern that I'm making. It's supposed to be made with like just very fine mohair and quite like airy. I don't think I would wear something that was see-through. So I've knit it either with like stuff held double or with like a thicker kind of mohair that I had bought. And it's the sleeve and the 2 front panels, and that's it. That might be one that is probably a go in. That's my instinct for this is to say go into storage, but a fun thing to come back to when I have the ability / desire / time. I'm glad to be reminded that it exists. So that is going. I think maybe that's part of the problem, is that the projects that I tend to knit are just either the ones that are on the top or the ones that don't actually, they're just in use all the time, so they never go into a project bag. And when I can't see things, they don't exist. So that's the issue. I don't know how putting them in storage is going to make that. Well, I think it's just, if I'm not seeing them and I'm not knitting on them, they might as well be in storage and not being visual clutter in my room. That's my thinking. Aha. Speaking of things that I forgot about, I'm pretty sure this is the Marit, and it has a little puffin badge and a badge that says "Go away, I'm reading." You can't see it, but trust me, that's what it says. And yes, this is in fact my Marit. So I've started the body and I've got about this far. That's my steek. Eep, 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 eep. Who's excited for steeking? I actually am. I think it'll be good fun. And yeah, I've knit just up to here, so I've not even done a full repeat. And I'm really enjoying it. It's on. I'm using my ChowGoo minis to make it. So I had been keeping my minis in here. I've also got this little pouch of like lavender moth repellent stuff that's in there. And then all of my yarn colours. Here, there you go, so you can actually see. And the inside of the bag is red gingham. I love it. I think this was like a one-off on Etsy, so I'm not going to link it, but I love this bag. Those are all my colours. There you go. I do actually really like knitting on this, and it might be a nice one for Christmas to have something that's like a little bit more involved for times when I'm just like sitting around and knitting and not trying to like multitask and knit while watching TV, which is honestly what I mostly do when I'm at home. So I wonder, this is going in the maybe pile. It's a maybe, depending on how many others we have. What is it that I want to keep out? 6 total. Right, that's going in the maybe. It's a maybe, because I love it and I'd like to knit it again. Oh, and here are my aforementioned Chagu minis, which I will actually put, I'm going to put in the project bag because then I know where they are. That's all good. There's something very like end of the year about doing a WIP check-in. It's like the prerequisite for doing your New Year resolution planning. Like, I'm thinking that I'm not a huge like spring cleaning type person. I think when it's summer, like I just want to get outside, and when the weather's nice, I'm like, I want to get outside. Whereas in the winter, we're like preparing to spend a lot of time in our house doing crafting, doing homemaking-y stuff. Not all of us, but I am. That's the way that my year rolls, is that I'm inside a lot more in the winter. And that's the time when I want to like check in and change my space and like do things like this, where I look at all of my projects and decide which ones I want to keep going with. So it's not been surprising that I've seen a lot of other people doing WIP check-ins, and that's been really nice to watch. So that's that whole spiel. This is my spring sorrel jumper, I'm sure, 97% sure. And I'm going to look up who that's by. By Wool and Pine. There you go. Yes, it is. And this is one that I actually got quite far on. Wow, I was expecting it to just be yoke, but I've already split for the sleeves. So this one's really not that far off of finished. And it's so beautiful. I think my hesitation with this one is that I wonder whether I'll actually wear the colour, whether it looks good on me, but actually I think it does. Like, I recently got rid of a yellow dress that I've had that I really like the shape of, but would never wear because I felt like the yellow kind of washed me out. I feel like I'm doing one of those like colour theory TikTok things. Which one do I look more? Am I in autumn? Am I spring? I don't know. Yeah, I really like the stitch pattern on this. It's very like, reminds me of the those socks that everyone loves, the tiny tree socks, the Lost in the Woods socks, I think. I've made a pair, but I can't remember what's called or who they're by. And this one again is really not far off finished, and is also like on some Chagu needles, which are valuable real estate. So I think again this is going to go in the maybe stay out, because it might be, I mean, I've only got like this much yarn left, so it's got to be a whole, can't be that much more knitting. That's going to go in my maybe stay pile. I think also part of the hold up with that is that it's with Malabrigo something, I can't remember what it's called. They're like linen mix, and I made another top in that same yarn and I did not wear it once. Like, I think I maybe wore it once. I genuinely don't know if I've worn it out of the house. I really enjoyed knitting it. I think it's beautiful. It just doesn't go with any of my like items. So I'm going to see if one of my friends wants it, because I love it and it's beautiful, but yeah, so I don't really wear it, and I think I will hopefully find a new home for it because it's beautiful, but I don't wear it. So I think part of the hesitation with that jumper is like, oh, it's the same yarn, what if I don't wear it? It also is a very similar shape, like it's cropped and has the short sleeves, and I think that was also something that because I wear a lot of like t-shirts over turtlenecks, especially in like transitional seasons. So like in spring when I started making it, and in autumn, which we like just went, I will wear a little over a turtleneck, and that is just like a good layering system for me. So maybe, and it's not even a full ball of yarn to get to the end of it. So again, that's my maybe. The maybe pile currently stands at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects. So, and I also know that one of these has to stay out. It's a secret one that I can't show you, but that needs to stay out. So that, we might be there at the 6th, who knows? Right. Oh, this is a fun one. This is what I've not talked about yet. So this is a pattern called the Red Thread, by someone with a name that I cannot pronounce. It's Scandi. I'll link it. And this is with all of the leftovers from my MCAL this year. My mystery knit along shawl that I made in October. If you want to watch that, Vlogtober videos are available. And also with some yarn that I frogged, that I think I talked about in the end of the Vlogtober videos, that was just a gift from a friend that she wasn't using, and it was one hank, but it was a chunky hank, and I wound it into I think like 4 or 5 cakes, quite sizable cakes. So it's a lot of yarn. It's not loads, like I think it's going to be just enough for a crop jumper with kind of 3/4 sleeves, with the yoke being colour work that's largely not this colour. There's a lot on my desk and I'm trying to balance it all out. There we go, that'll stay. So it's a bottom up pattern. In theory, you'd also knit the sleeves and then attach and then do the yoke, but because I'm trying to use up all of this and maximise it, I did a provisional cast on for adding the sleeve stitches when I kind of got to, I'll show you. So I did a provisional cast on here so that I can pick up those stitches and knit the sleeves out, even though it's bottom up, which was quite proud of myself for working out. And my battery is flashing at me and my cat is sneezing at the door, so I will be back in just 1 second. She's fine. Anyway, so the hold up with this is that I'm not 100% on my colour choice for the yoke. I am using this Mondim blue that was in the shawl, and I have this colour in here, which was a leftover from the shawl. I don't think I'll use it in the pattern, but in the colourwork section, but I'm now wondering if actually, because there's quite a high contrast, and I think that's part of the problem. And then I'm also using this, which is leftovers from my mystery knit along, and this is from Ginger Twists, hand dyed in I think crunchy leaves, and then this is a favourite yarn of mine that I always forget what it's called. It's from Gots, and I will put it down below. And this was a leftover from a shawl, my Leaves of Grass shawl. And I thought that these 3 colours looked really lovely together, and they do look really lovely together. However, or these 4 colours, I should say, looked really lovely together, and they do. However, not necessarily in the way that I have arranged them for the colourwork pattern. I think what I need to do is some swatching for just the colourwork pattern portion and rip back to the cream section, which is kind of you start the colourwork portion just a little bit after casting on for the sleeves. So hopefully I'll be able to rip back without losing those stitches, the provisional cast on stitches. And I'm thinking that if I kind of put the needles through the stitches and before ripping back, that'll be fine. Yeah, I thought maybe I would keep going with this, but actually now having looked at it, I am definitely gonna rip back. It's not awful, but it's just not like, I really want this jumper to be something that I can wear for a really long time. And I've been wanting for quite a while a cropped cream jumper with a colourwork yoke, so I want it to be, just right so that I can keep it and wear it, and it goes with lots of things in the wardrobe. And also because I've been doing a lot of sorting in my wardrobe recently, I am very aware of like what colours I have the most of and what goes well with them. So I'm hoping to kind of echo that in the colourwork yoke, and also hopefully do that just with colours that I already own. So I think this is one that is a bit more of a project, like it's going to need some revisiting, and also I'd love to free up this project bag so I could use it for something else because I really like it. This is a Midwinter Yarns project bag. It's oil cloth and then with like rainbow on the inside, and it's got pockets. Love that. So I think that is possibly a rip back and then put away so that it's like ready to start when I want to pick it up again, but not keep out for the time being. Maybe I could swatch on it, but I think the bulk of the sweater I'm going to put away. And that is almost the end. I think we've got 2 left. There's some crinkly bags of yarn that I frogged that I've already talked about. I'm wondering about donating this colour. That's my advent skein from last year. Or I might use it to make some mitts, because I am in need of some fingerless mitts and I want to make the Towie mittens by Susan at Knitlib. And I've tried a few times with different yarns that I already have, and it's just not right. It's not squishy enough, and this I remember being quite a squishy yarn, so I think that could work. Am I going to cast on a project? Maybe. I got an email. And then this is just a sweaters quantity that I frogged from a jumper that I was making that I didn't like and I talked about elsewhere. So those are they're not whips, they're just little bonus items. And now the crinkly plastic is gone. I have this project in my incredibly sturdy BIPOC and fibre tote with my bi-stitch wool pin. It's all happening. I also realise that as much as I am a queer person, I do not engage in both craft activities, being crochet and knitting. I just knit. So I don't know if I can have the badge, but I am queer, so Anyway, also somehow my knitting notebook is ended up in here. Great. That's not much use to anyone. Well, it's useful to me, but it does not have it's not like a detailed tracking system of what I've made and when. Right, this is a very, very close to finished jumper. However, I do think I will be putting it away because I just don't have the time or the motivation to knit. I mean, I'm on Sleeve Island, aren't I? I've just got one more sleeve left to do, and then like the finishing. This is an Ayla jumper from Ready Set Raglan. For a friend who I've promised a jumper for ages, and it's very like, it's just traditional with a few stripes, ribbed. I just need to do the sleeve, but I think what I'll probably do is put that away for now in some plastic to keep it safe from the mothies. And I feel like I'm smelling it. I'm like, as if I can smell out the moths. Are they in there? Are you in there, moths? I don't think they're in there. And then take it out again when it's this friend's birthday, which is kind of in the first quarter of the year, and finish it then, because it's a fair chunk of knitting that's left. However, I do have quite a lot of the other colours which could potentially be used for my yoke jumper, so that's maybe something to think about, because I've got like, I will have leftovers, so I could afford to like use a little bit in a colourwork yoke, and that would be fine. So that's something for me to maybe look at when I'm unraveling. Last thing, I think, this is not a project, this is a bag, a bookshop tote bag, that's just full of all of my 4-ply scraps. So it's just a world of scraps in there. and I don't know what I'm gonna do with them, but something will come to me. And maybe, oh, I know, well, I want to make some high desert socks, don't I? Because everyone's making the high desert socks because of Susan, starting your little trend with the high desert socks. I have a pattern already that's very similar to the high desert socks, so I think I'll probably just use that. Or are high desert socks free? If it's a free pattern, then I'll use it. If not, I'm trying to use the patterns that I already have rather than buying new patterns this year and generally. So that might be something to do. I think, what are we at? 2 potential new cast-ons during this WIP check-in? Good. This is another little bag. I don't know what's in here. I think this might just be my bag of bags, which will be useful when I'm sorting out all these projects. This is just my bag of bags. It's just tote bags for looking at things. And then we have a secret project. A secret project that fills this whole basket. What could it be? We don't know. And I'm not going to tell you. So that is hopefully a secret project that needs to stay out. So that might just be its project bag. And we'll see if that works out. And this is my bag of scrap, like ends that I cut off and then I keep for if I need to use for stuffing or something. And then this is the little bag that I've been using to hold portions of that bigger secret project, so that I can like take them out with me or something. There we go. A little brighter now. The sun has become less. So, in summary, I'm feeling very done and like I need to go and eat some lunch, so I'm going to do that. Thank you for following along for this chaotic WIP check-in. I am going to count how many I've definitely decided to keep out. And because it's Vlogmas, I'll just update you tomorrow, or not actual tomorrow for you, but 2 days away for me. That being, hold on, cat wants to come in. She's come back in. She's gonna sit down on the jumper that I've laid out for her to sleep on. She's really into sleeping on jumpers lately, like, or shawls. If I lay out something knitted, she's like, oh, for me, so nice, thank you. And then she sits in it. That's what she's doing literally right now. It's just curling herself up on a little jumper. Anyway, I will update you on Thursday, probably, about what 6 projects I ended up keeping out. But at the moment we have secret project number 1 that we're keeping out. Considering the Merit 2. Secret socks 3. Spring sorrel 4. And 2 advent projects 5 and 6. And considering keeping out the 2 nearly finished toe socks, but I think they might be, I think I'm going to put them somewhere where I like know where they are, and then maybe one weekend in December I'll like take them out and do like a day of sock finishing, and then they're finished, and then I can free up those project bags for the new year, which I'm really excited for. I was not looking forward to the changing of the years, to be honest with you. At the end of November, I felt like it had all come too quickly, and I wanted it to be 2022 just a little bit longer. But actually, now that I'm starting to kind of prep for 2023, I've got my calendar sorted, or like my planner book sorted, and I'm starting to kind of make plans and think about things that I might want to do, and like personal goals that I want to set out for myself for the new year. And I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to all the crafting that I will do alongside those goals. So I'm going to go and eat some leftover pizza from yesterday that I made. I didn't actually make the pizza dough. I bought the pizza bases and then put toppings and put it in the oven, but still, I basically made it. I assembled the pizza. And I will see you tomorrow for you, 2 days for me.